I am settled. I'm ready. Is everybody else ready? No, it's good. Right, let's get going. Let's crack on. And remember, England's playing tonight. Okay? Yeah. Just remember that point. Well, very important point.
There you are.
We actually did contemplate putting that on. Right, apologies for absence, please.
Jane, following me, and then Patrick, Kieran.
Oh, for council. Oh, God, we have to. Remember, football's on tonight, okay?
It's going to be a long question.
Public participation time.
Although the finance stuff was out, so I didn't have a look at it, but I don't have any questions.
Declarations of interest for this meeting. No, this is going. To confirm and sign the minutes of the full parish meeting held on the 11th of June 2024. I'm assuming everyone has looked at them. If there are no comments, can I have a proposer and a seconder, please? They do propose and a second. All those in favour? Excellent. No matter arising. Planning applications, associated matters 20-02221 PIP erection of up to 9 number self-build custom build units and up to 15 number community allotments, new permissive right of way and community orchard at the land south of H1B and to the east of H1C Babraham Road. Comments, please. Sorry, Brian.
Thank you, Councillor Cook. So, this is news to me, so that was interesting to see. I'm not surprised that the landowners, which are obviously Satchel family related, want to maximise their profit out of owning a site that they might get built on. Problems being that it's green belt, there's less houses on there for the size of the site than would require them to do affordable housing. I noticed that they've deliberately kept the numbers below that. And I'd much prefer if we wanted to allow building on that area, which is not wholly unreasonable. I think it's slightly odd at the moment because of the shape of that land that wasn't included in the southern development, that we did a rural exception site and made them affordable housing.
Well, I think the proposal is actually for self-build.
It's for self-build, right? Yes, but that
you do. Well, I just checked your right to build register. Currently, it seems to me you're short of 733 plots.
Yes, we discussed this by chance at informal cabinet this morning.
Right.
Because there's a somewhat quirky system that you can't deregister applications under right to self-build.
Yes, that's right.
So the register just keeps on accruing, which gives rise to this figure, because that's all of the applications that were ever made. So it gives a false impression but it's true even so that we are short of self-build properties in the area.
So I assume from what you're saying, South Cambs hasn't actually made a designation on this site of self-build, because according to the latest information of the MPPF, is really the only circumstance in which people can be released for this purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
So being in the green belt is not a good indicator, I would suggest, to anything other than rural exception sites. And if it's a rural exception site, although and that we could put more affordable homes on the site. They're only using a small proportion for housing. So I've got to be slightly careful that I don't do predetermination, but my inclination would be to recommend that we send it back and asked them to put in a submission for a rural exception site with significant numbers of affordable housing. So currently there's a viability test on rural exception sites. This is where the landowner gives up the land at a slightly higher price than the agricultural value. But in return for that, the developers are allowed to build primarily affordable housing, but if there's a viability argument, they can do a small proportion of market properties on the same site. And that would be my preference in this case.
I mean, the other issue is that, I mean, probably help us with this actually, so where we're actually up to is C-set, because that site was originally sort of not exactly earmarked, but sort of seen as a possible.
It was an obvious place for a car drop-off zone and bike storage and so on. Having said that, if CSEC gets approval, actually going on to the other side of the junction wouldn't be particularly problematic.
Well, it was a green belt, and also you would be awkward if people would actually cross the track in order to get to it. So, wouldn't they, if they're coming from Sawston?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure how much of a problem that is, but I mean, it's certainly worth considering.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there is some space further along, isn't there, to the south of that plot?
Well, it depends what you actually include in the plot, because it is the whole of the section of holding. The other thing also is a boundary issue, because I can't remember exactly where the boundary went, but I
think it might be in Babraham.
From the planning statement, yeah, it indicated it was in Babraham, and so would we really have to go through the procedure? I know it's not a planning issue, but it's not.
So I get the distinct feeling that we do not support.
Yes.
Do I have a proposer?
Well, I'll propose then.
Do I have a seconder? Paul, that we do not support for the certain reasons that have been clearly given.
Can we also...
do you want me to request it comes rural exception site?
Yes, can we put an alternative proposal as a rural exception site, please?
Yeah.
But I won't vote, so that I don't...
I have a proposal, I have a seconder. All those in favour?
Yeah.
No vote? What? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. 24-02326 S73 S73 to vary condition 2 approved plans of planning permission. Full planning application for the erection of 158 residential units and associated access points, landscaping and infrastructure to amend play equipment site H1B, land north of Babraham Road, Sawston House. David.
I mean, I know the inquiry came from the equestrian society concerning the width of the path, but as far as I can see, that is really a completely separate issue to this application. There only seem to be 2 trees that actually impinge on that, as far as I can see from the plan. I mean, correct me if I'm mistaken.
Well, there's also a reinforcement of the requirement for the screening trees that were promised along the northeastern edge, which Karen Coggins, who's the planning officer concerned, has been sort of pursuing, let's say, as a condition that needs to be fulfilled.
So apart from that, I see no issues with it, so I propose no objection.
Do I have a seconder? Brian? All those in favour?
Thank you.
Right, the appeal, demolition of existing dwelling and construction of new detached 4-bedroom house and garden studio, we all know which one this is. Resubmission of 23-01867 full at 101 Mill Lane. Do we actually want to make any comment? Or do we stick to our original?
I think so, yes.
Just stick to
I
the
don't
original?
think there's any reason to vary what we said last time.
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to reiterate the previous comments then, or just...
I would, yeah, just to reiterate it, let them know that how we feel about it. I think we support it. Information only. Right, here we go. The fun games. To discuss the cemetery map. Claire?
So it's split into two sections. The first one was from the last meeting. I was explaining to you all that PARE didn't want to take on our database. It was Heritage that they've now advised us to use. So I went back to PARE and asked them why, and they basically said that their database wasn't as good for how big our cemetery was, and recommended them. So I actually phoned Heritage just to have a word with them and chat to them about their system, and they sounded really good on the phone. I was happy with everything they said, and I looked back at the quotes, and we actually agreed for PARE's database is actually 1,500, and then this other company is 600. So we'll be saving by going with this company.
So we're going to say work for less?
Yeah. So I just made sure I checked the quote with them.
I like that.
It's a no-brainer, yes.
Go on.
So, the two companies involved, are we talking about just populating the database, or are we talking about?
Yes, this is just them doing the database. So it includes the database. We do need to do an annual payment, which you've already put into the budget. So that takes the first payment out of that 600. Also, training is 95.
Sorry, can I just check why you mentioned it? What's the price for the annual fee?
150.
Okay.
And then that includes training is 95, and I have asked that all 3 staff can be trained, because even if we go ahead on the next bit about putting in the data, they only put in so much data. The information, there's loads you can add to it as and when, so you can sort of add information in, who has the exclusive right, like there's just lots, they just do the basics. So we'll have a basic.
You've got a lot of fields that you can
There's lots, yes. So I thought it'd be good to get all 3 of us trained, so at least we're all trained. And then it also includes the cemetery searcher, so they will also upload the database and the map onto our website for us, and that's 600. And then there's an annual hosting cost, which is £60 for the search. But that was agreed, both those prices.
What
when you
is the
did
total
that.
cost of it all?
600, 32.40.
632.40. And so they will set everything in place.
Yeah.
And you just have to do in basic terms, the tidying up
And then the second part of this item is you all asked to bring back the quote for them to input the data into this system, which was 4,347.
So,
It is very confusing, it's fine.
I've got lost.
It is very confusing.
Go for it, mate.
Okay. So, can we just, as I say, and reinforce my understanding of what we're talking about? So, we've got a software system that we're looking to buy,
Yeah.
and uploading of data. So, what's the 600 quid, and what's the 4,000 quid?
So the £4,000 is to upload each individual burial plot in our cemetery. So from our history books into the database. And then the £600 is the database itself.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So, I'm concerned that somebody wants to charge us £4,000 for uploading data to a database when we've got that information already, and I don't know quite how many. I can't find my little calculator up on here, so I want to work out how many hours of
We did
upload.
discuss this before you went to a meeting, didn't you, about how long there was
So how many? And I'm wanting to do a rough and ready calculation about 4,000 quid hours. How many records they can upload and do the data entry for? Because that.
So there's that, is it? But there's also the fact of if they do all that information and collate all that information into one, That makes the clerk's job easier.
That's not the question for me. I mean, I'm more than happy that, you know, we don't give the clerks onerous work to do that will take them a long time to get through. When you're already, you know, busy enough with this. So I'll give way to Paul.
No, I just wanted to defer to what I said last time and also echo not only what Brian said last time, because I saw Kieran's email the other day as well, and £4,000 I think as an IT person is expensive. I concur with Brian, also an IT person, albeit more senior than me, and obviously, you know, it's then, you know, middle level. And obviously then my concern is, you know, is that a one-off fee? Are we talking support and maintenance charges? And then it's going to be the recurrent storage costs. I think there's a lot of red flags for me, not only the foreground.
Pear originally said it would be 4 minutes input each page, which
And there's 8
8
entries per page.
We've got 800.
That's roughly, it's probably more than that, huh? Because also, it's not just on
So
the
400
phrase,
hours.
and also it's umbrella for more than one person.
400 hours divided by. That takes 73 days. Full days.
Quite.
Yeah.
Which is 2 months.
That's
That's
a
a
deal.
But
Well, that's.
you know, the difficulty I've got is we could outsource this, right? So we could send this abroad and get some very inexpensive labour to do the work. Now, I'm not particularly suggesting that, but the difference between doing that and what we've been offered, I mean, it's clearly relatively extortionate for the skill level required, which is minimal. You know, they can put an intern on the job, or, you know, youth experience.
They're doing the Philippines for 10% of the price.
I know Mark's going to be shaking his head here. And I hesitate. I'm not recommending that. What I'm saying is that for me is just way too expensive for the amount of work that is required.
I agree with you.
Just thinking of money what's important.
I'm just concerned about the actual additional workload. So it's saying 2 months, but it's going to be more than 2 months, because by the time we've actually sat down and will the other work, we're probably looking
You're looking at
near 4 to 5 months.
to do it, like in our time, which is fine, it could be something that's not ongoing, but it's just going to be something that's not completed for a very long time.
But we could hire a contractor into the Parish Council on a temporary basis, on a fixed term, or, you know,
Fixed price contract.
yeah, and actually get them to do the work while they were there, so you could, you know.
What about data protection with them going through?
Well, that's just normal procedure for signing off a GDPR compliant contract.
It's legacy data, not personal sensitive data, sure, isn't it?
Well, it's
No, it sounds a bit.
Somebody quite recent actually.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah.
are you making a proposal there, Brian?
I think so.
What's your proposal?
That we hire into the Parish Council somebody to do the work on a fixed
Fixed price contract.
fixed price contract.
Do I have a second? Oh.
But hold on a sec, hold on. So what do you want us to do then? Try and find something, but then
You put it
But then
on
put it on the agenda.
put an advert out.
You put an advert on Fiverr.
Well,
But then
that's
what
not-
we charge?
no, it's not particularly-
No,
I'm not talking about- I'm not talking about-
do that, but how much we paying them, we don't know how many
Yeah,
hours we
we
want
need
them
to
to
have
do.
something in
There's
place.
not.
Well, so you have to work it out. You have to
What
work.
we paying them an hourly rate and stuff, that's.
No, fixed.
Right.
Fixed price, fixed term.
So work out how many records
Well,
we
that's what you
want to be entered, right? And we work out roughly how much that is going to cost. You can do, a trial period just to ascertain whether that's actually accurate or not. It's quite likely that it would speed up doing it because they'll get very familiar with the process. And so it's perfectly possible to hire somebody to do that on a short term fixed term contract and do it for a price.
Right.
What do you reckon price wise, because Kevin was
I
asking?
have a proposal, I have a second.
Who's seconded it?
Paul. All those in favour of that proposal?
Advertise.
I don't know.
4, 6,
You sure?
6.
But I think as we've suggested it, really what we ought to do is help the clerks actually set the thing up.
I just think that we're in a can of worms.
And then you've got to advertise, like you said. Pay charges. How much is that?
But to answer your question, I'd be shocked if you can get it done for 10%, the figure that was £4 grand. I really would.
It's out of
What's the only rate now for a computer person?
Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, that's my thinking, you're not going to do it.
Look, the data entry clerks are not paid an awful lot of money.
Especially in Bangkok or Manila.
Well,
You won't be
I'm
putting
not
yourself forward
suggesting
for
that we do that. I'm suggesting.
Well, we've had
It's nowhere near hourly rate. £4,000 is way more than my hourly rate.
What we'll do is, for that, we'll work that out now, and I think we'll bring it back to the next agenda, just so that before we go ahead.
Yeah.
And then also,
Let's move on.
we need to,
Also little quality control as well, because you know you
someone just come
Well, what if they make mistakes?
Right, okay.
So you need a verification.
Okay, slow things move.
That was
Not very familiar, we haven't finished this side.
So you agreed on the data being inputted, but we haven't agreed on the data system base. Are you happy to go with the quote of £600 with Heritage instead of PIP?
yeah.
Right, so
I'll
you
advertise that.
If you want to, yeah.
You second it, all those in favour?
Lovely, Lisa.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, I'll stay for the next two.
Okay.
So the cemetery extension, I just need clarification on the size of the land that you would like to.
I thought we agreed a hectare.
Yeah, I was just a bit confused because I've got 3 different map sizes, and the last one that Brian did for me was this one, which is to scale. Is that right?
So that is a hectare. So
It looked quite big to me,
because
so I just wondered.
so the question isn't whether that's a hectare or not.
That is
That's a hectare.
it's just whether you
which
want
is
that
what I
much.
was asked to provide a map that had
So
a
that's to
hectare
scale, yeah.
to scale.
Well, I mean, how long is that likely to last? I mean, we have a thing around there.
A couple of centuries.
Yeah. But when you look at
I think we're
this,
into the next millennium.
You need to add in St Mary's, because St Mary's Creek.
yes.
Even with that, that's a huge plot
Can you see it from there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So-
a huge plot.
And for me, whether we use it now or in 50 years or 100 years' time,
Do it now. before
get the thing
Yeah.
done, get the land transfer done.
So
We've got
agree this one.
Section 106 money to pay for it. And
So you,
my recommendation is go for that size.
Proposing that, yeah,
you
Brian.
proposing it? Do I have a seconder? Paul? All those in favour?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I might need to defer the next item because I contacted a company following our meeting. Sorry, can I remind me who we met with at South Cambs?
Who was it we, when we was that online?
Sarah Anderson.
Yeah.
So she recommended our next steps. We had a Zoom call and we need to send a plan to scale, which I can now do, to South Cambs. And then they'll speak to the tenants of the land and we can ask permission. So basically we need to do a groundwater audit on the ground before we can buy it to check that it's okay to use for a cemetery. So I received a quote, which I did send out to everybody, if they have a look.
This one.
Yes. So this is the only company that do it for a cemetery. But I've realised that the map that I sent, I obviously sent the smaller one. So
It's going to be small.
it's going to cost probably more than that.
So
We can defer it.
bring it back to
Yeah,
the
but
meeting.
just
That's fine.
to obviously let you know roughly, because that's the quote's coming out.
Although we've been recommended to have this groundworks water risk assessment, if we get a geology map which are available, it would almost inevitably show that we've got a very similar subsoil structure, which is predominantly chalk. We've got a geology map that could confirm or deny that. So actually there is clearly an option to do, as we do with archaeology sites, do the strips. So I'm not sure that the quotation should be twice as much or 3 times.
Oh, okay. So it should stay, hopefully.
Well, yeah, just wondering what you actually mean by geological maps. The ones that are published by the Geological Survey are only on the sort of standard ordnance survey. What is it, 1 to 10,000? And I think you probably need a bit more detail than that actually for a project.
So I'm thinking of the ones I've seen from actually Lumsden, who's local geologist and a naturalist. Yeah, not a naturalist.
Careful.
So I'm quite happy to get hold of, give myself an action to get hold of Ashley, just so that we've got a bit of information to guide us on this, so that we don't get ripped off.
Okay. Do you want to read first?
Yeah, if you can you just send me an email as a note?
Yeah.
Okay.
You might also need soil depth as well, which will be on the You might also need soil depth as well, which will be on the geological.
Yes. Got to make sure that 6 foot under is appropriate.
Well, if you aren't into solid chalk subsoil, and you're about to meet some down, it isn't. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got to just give them back the information and then we can bring it back with the new costs. Okay, to discuss shared prosperity fund applications. You've seen the email that was sent out from South Cambs, sorry.
Just thinking we should probably spoke to ground speakers about this, because it's, speaking to various sites.
Yeah.
We do have some already that we're kind of working on, but unless anyone's got any ideas, I can speak to them.
I just thought the interesting part was paths and resurfacing. Included in, not extensively, but was inclusive. So, I can't think of an area that we would particularly support, but most, because we've got which we deal with, we've got the wild area down there, haven't we?
We've got the wild areas and the grounds now.
So what was the documentation for this that you...
I emailed it out on the 5th of June. No? Oh no, Ted would have emailed it out with the agenda or before, round about the 5th of June I received it.
So I've got the
James from James Croft.
I've got Claire's agenda and it's just got 2 documents.
Right, she would have forwarded it before then, because everyone else got it. Look at the 4.
It's from you. I'm strictly generation.
5th of June.
19th of June.
Basically, is at least 4 sites to be selected for improvement application received, and project cost could range from small works to around 15k per site. The aim of the scheme is to provide higher quality and more usable green space in your area. The works undertaken may include, but not be limited to, planting trees, which we do, seating and benches, which we do, wildlife habitat, which we have covered, wildflower planting, which we already have, repair work and to existing structures, and paths of servicing. The only area that springs to mind for me, and I don't think it's going to be a starter, a non-starter, is the woodland area around by Cambs talked about. Having a nice pathway put through that.
Well, we talked about that when we went on site with them, didn't we?
Yeah.
And actually, the other possibility I would have thought was the bulks got allocated as an open area. We talked last time about the fact that all the surrounding bushes have grown up. There's now maple trees growing, or sycamore trees growing in there. There's all the flower that has sprung up. It's very untidy, and we've got no real prospect of that being managed on a frequent basis, at least. So, what could you do in that space? I know we lost the original opportunity to actually buy that from the developers, but they may be amenable to an alternative. In fact, I think there were. Did they suggest originally that it would be gifted to us? No.
They did, but that would be the new our recreational allowance in relation to it. Yes, it was.
Anyway, whatever the previous circumstances, we'd have to think about whether we were interested in buying that land, and a proposal might be turning it into a park, because there's nothing there at the moment. But when you look at, for example, the recreation ground at Shelford, it's an example where there's kiddie play areas which are well used now, or an alternative to actually have an adult park and maybe do a walking maze like they've got at Bishop Stortford, for example, and actually make it a usable space by the community.
That would all depend on what
The owners.
What they offer now. If we go in, I mean, the maximum is 15.
I'm just going to say it's up to
15k. I can't see her letting us have that 15k.
Well, no, but bear in mind that it's either a liability or an asset, right? And it's only an asset if it can be converted into commercial gain, right? So if that's not going to happen, then it continues being a liability on the owners. So, as I understand it, they're currently paying for the grass to be cut.
I don't know, I thought when they came to meeting before, he said that he was maintaining it all, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, I
So it's not they're not maintaining the job though.
No, well, that's what they said, though. They
the
were.
point that you're making, but he
He did say that he was doing it himself.
that they were looking after.
The only thing they do is cut the grass.
What, sorry?
Cut the grass.
Oh yes, yeah.
So there's no maintenance of the thorn hedge that was in place when they purchased it. That was about 3 foot high.
So what we need to do is speak to them and see.
Does this have to be, we have to own the land, which we don't, and this is till 1st of August, so there's only an 8-week window to complete the application, so on this occasion I would say, unless we've got something else to know.
Yes.
And I mean, the other option that you mentioned, which we've already talked about when we were on site, it was a sort of a step too far, I felt, to the reaction was, oh, we hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
But there's land around the whole of the perimeter of the new city football stadium, including a wild area to the west of the site, and if properly maintained, that could be really good for biodiversity, for example, but also create a really nice walk all the way. I'm thinking of something similar to Milton Country Park, where they've got paths through the wooded areas that you can walk right around the perimeter of the
For
site.
me, I think the woodland, if we could get some funding to do a nice little walkway round that woodland, I think we would stand more chance of getting something than we would with the box.
So who's going to ask the satchel funding?
I was just going to say, we can't just do it, we need to,
Exactly.
and again,
They ain't going to say yes. Put it back this way. Neil!
What about Spike Field? Would that come into it?
It's too Too Good, or Tas Good charity. And
Doesn't it come midway between Pamperston and Sawston?
No, it's not over. I think the emphasis here, which Joe's brought up, is the fact that we have to own it.
Yes, yeah.
We don't own it. That's the problem. Paul?
Is there any way to integrate some installations of bridleway with those pass through the woods that you mentioned? Just to try and...
Again, you'd have to impose a section.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking if we put a goodly word
I
proposal
think
to
what we should do is, hopefully this will be a success by South Cambs with other villages. Let us go away, think about potential possibilities of land that we own, and when it comes in for next year, we'll have some idea, a bit like we do with the LHI. Think ahead, think of what we could do, and then bring that proposal in at another meeting as a potential.
just a random idea. David will know where I'm going to go next.
Broadmeadow, yes.
I'm going to go Broadmeadow because I seem to revert to it every time.
Yes.
So it's not in our ownership, but the land was an orphan from the development, wasn't it?
I think the ownership actually is quite awkward. I think. Just trying to think, there's a long way back actually.
So if I can,
I've got to think.
maybe I can remind you, if it's worth, would you, can we go back and check?
Yeah.
Because I think the danger with this stuff is that if there's no ownership registered on the land registry, we can't just sort of stake a claim to it, and in fact it reverts to the Crown, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think
ultimately, because we had that same situation at Meadowfield when Carillion, you'll remember, with the original developer company, went bust, and the common areas then ended up being reverted to the Crown.
That was a bad one.
Vernon Wild, Paul. Vernon and Wild. Couldn't it be? We've got an 8-week window. We're thinking of plant holders down the high street. Biodiversity, healthy, green. Just an idea. Anybody? Put, like we got outside the post office, apply for some more of them down the high street.
Sawston net zero.
Sorry, the planters that we've got at the moment are not aesthetically pleasing.
No.
And I mean, I'm clearly quite favourable to the idea of getting, for example, some sort of trees in there to make it a more pleasant place to be around, and also to, as you know, to get a pedestrian priority environment there.
Yeah.
It makes it so. The problem with doing that in 8 weeks is who's going to design it effectively, who's going to get approval, because
Just said it was a random one.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm just trying to sort of think this thing through. If we were to do it on the high street itself, on the highway, we'd need permission, and we don't own the highway.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go away and think about it, and we'll bring it to another meeting. Alright? To discuss Mill Lane pavilion floor. As you can see,
Behind you.
it's falling, it's sinking. There wasn't a structural engineer involved. There is a situation where it is obviously clearly becoming dangerous. Have we
So it is moving more, you can see where that's the extension.
Yes.
So I had a structural engineer out, he's speaking to the builder. I've also spoken to the project manager that we had for the site, and I'm waiting for the structural engineer is going to send me a report, because we're going to have to dig a trial hole. They recommended that we dig a trial hole to see what's happened. You can see it's moving down here now as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hoping to have had it by 7 o'clock tonight. He hasn't sent it through, so as soon as I get it, it will have to go on the next one. But we obviously need to discuss, yes, a way forward. But I don't see we've got any. We need to have the trial on that done.
So, the new bits.
New bits there and here. So from here,
Yeah.
so this is where the building was and where that yellow line is.
Yes.
That's good.
There's some sunken bit.
Yeah.
So it's actually proud towards the patio door.
But yeah, I know. It's gone up. I don't get how it's gone up, but anyway, they're we need a trial.
So what I'm wondering, if I may, Chair, is that's part of the old floor.
This side of that yellow line is, and then to here, and then all of that by the patio.
Okay, so by the patio. Oh yeah,
well,
sorry.
that's it.
I've just realised that.
We have the veranda.
Yeah.
So let's
So I'm just trying to establish whether it's one side sinking or one side lifting.
I get the feeling that it's lifting.
Yeah.
Seems to be lifting on this side.
This shouldn't be moving.
No, I mean this has been here.
So it's that side. It's how it would be, which is why they want to dig a trial hole. And the engineer as well said it would be worth speaking, obviously, for insurance. I don't know where we stand with it, but I'm looking into it. So.
Okay, so we'll bring that back to another meeting when we go forward.
Well, I'll have the report and then we'll see what happens.
Right, so discuss hire charges for the funfair and circus.
So we looked at the fees for when the fair and circus come to town. We're currently charging £57 a day. Yeah.
57.
Yeah. It kind of has always been like that. I don't know why it's never changed. We've contacted a couple of other.
Like a good figure.
Yeah. We've contacted a couple of other councils. One charges £128 a day, and Saffron Walden Town Council charge £200 a day for operating day and £75 when they turn up and the day they leave.
I think the issue that this has come about is that it's actually not example, but this one we have on the agenda is when we had the fair, it has done significant damage to White. I think a lot of that was probably caused by the fact that it's a wet weather, and then that's become sort of irrelevant.
Just to say on that I've spoken to the guy first, and we're keeping this £500 deposit towards the cost.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So the problem is like a lot of our facilities, we're not actually charging enough to cover basic costs.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that we have. So regarding this, and haven't they here for 4 days?
Well, they're here a week, it's not a day to set up.
I do think that we do need to significantly, I think quite significantly increase the price. I've got Brian, Paul, David and Anna.
We talked about getting insurance for such events, didn't we? Because that's the obvious way. And just transferring, my suggestion would be that we get these events insured for damage to the ground, so that actually we can cover the cost of reinstatement and get them to pay the premium. And we might want to increase the
I think we should
fees
increase the fees.
as well, anyway.
Paul?
Agree with everything Brian said. The fees are far too low in agreement with what you said. And critically, as we talked about last time, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Joel or Claire, I apologise, we need to tighten up the T's and C's so we have this issue again, as per minimum way. With anybody that rips up the grass has to damn well put it back.
David?
Well, I'm taking a slightly different approach, so I'm not sure how insurable it would be. But anyway, I'm just wondering, because for claim we have groundsman's discretion, and if the groundsman decides that the land is unsuitable, then basically they're,
That's a good idea.
the contract.
We do that.
But that's awkward for an event like a circus.
Well, it is, yes.
Right, because they're wanting something that's more guaranteed to be available.
Yeah.
So But that's what I'm saying, that if we get, it may be extremely expensive, right, to cover our costs by insuring it, and that additional expense might be enough to put somebody off trying to hire the place. But ultimately, we don't want to hire our grounds, have them destroyed, and then take the hit for the work involved in doing that. And if that's a too big an ask for example, the fairground guys,
charging £5 a buy.
well, it's down to them to make a choice rather than for us to take the hit.
Alan?
No, I agree with what everyone else has said.
Okay, I think I'm going to make a proposal that I think we should charge £200 a day. Simply and basically because of the damage and the costs that were involved, and also to investigate insurance prices. They will be astronomical. I know that because of the fact.
Well, shall I don't worry about it. Shall I look at the insurance first and then bring it back?
Probably.
I'll do that.
That would be a
Look into the insurance
standalone policy, not an addition to Paris.
And as Brian says, I agree that we pass that cost on to them.
Yeah.
So take it or leave it.
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
quite rigorous about that.
So I'll get that first and then we can go from there and work out
Okay.
With respect to your proposal before you finalise for the vote, can you include
We're
time?
not voting.
We're not.
No.
Can we make sure we time up the T's and C's for the damage as pertains to? We don't want the Linden Way thing to happen again, please.
The thing is, the idea is we forget the insurance and everything, the Linton Way thing, if it does happen again, we've got everything in place to put it right. It will happen again.
Well, that's my point.
The only way it won't happen again is if you actually turn around to the circus and say you're not coming.
I know, and that's the thing.
We don't do that.
We
It's
don't
not,
do that.
it's not plausible for them, is it?
No.
You know, if they need a guaranteed period to run the service while, you know, for the duration.
Right. Moving on to discuss defibrillator at the library.
Well, we asked previously, we wrote to the library and the health centre, actually, we haven't heard from them, but if they would put an external defib outside the library, and we sent them loads of funding links, etc. They've come back to say that, well, it's a no, but if we're able to fund and maintain it, they're happy for us to put it on the wall.
Not bollocks to that.
Exactly. The cost, I mean,
Excuse me.
Are you speaking as a district councillor or a county councillor?
well, it is everything else.
We're in street one.
I mean, the cost, because what someone might ask, is going to be about, well, the quote I've got today is 1,925 for an external case and a defib, that's about how many installed.
Yeah,
So, how many have we got already?
Well, we've got 4, there's 5, so there's about 8, 9.
I was going to say there's a substantial number of them.
I think this came to light because we've got one on the sports ground.
And
They couldn't access it because our gates are locked.
That's
But
what
then
it came to.
it's all the sports ground.
So it's the hub that's asked.
No, we asked them, because after that,
we
wrote to the
Okay.
county council and
So-
the health centre as well.
so-
So we said there's not one up that.
Share some correspondence with me, will you? As your county councillor,
Yeah.
I shall look to investigate the refusal.
Does the village college have one?
Yes, but there's one in sports, but then the problem is there's a few in the village that are in buildings, so you
Yes,
can't
yes,
access
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But I don't think the one with the health centre is the fact that we want it, they've got one there,
Yeah,
but we want one outside the
There's
gate.
Mill, well, no, yeah, they've got one
I
inside.
don't think we've actually
The
got one.
nearest one up that end is Mill Lane. Is it here?
Here.
Or Price Bailey?
Yeah.
Probably is the nearest one
Yes,
to.
yes.
It's the nearest one to Pampers, that end.
And we all know how I feel about defibrillator.
Right, I'll send you information.
To discuss quotes for top dressing at Linton Way Recreation Ground, coming back to the
Well,
circus.
no, there's not just, it's
other
not
issues.
from that, but yeah. So as you know, when Will came to the previous meeting, he spoke about renovating the wanting to renovate all our grounds at some point, Linton Way being, well, needing to be done. So we've tried to get quotes. So they verti-drain, oversee, fertilise, top dress, etc. But it is quite expensive. So we've contacted 3 companies. One couldn't do it within the time frame because it needs to be done before the next season. We've got 2 quotes. One 11,475 plus VAT and 11,840 plus VAT. And I did send everyone the email with the figure of why we want this done.
Okay. Am I right in thinking that our previous groundskeepers did this work themselves?
No, not this, not to this level, no. They fertilised, but they didn't do.
So
They put sand down and verti-drain it sand, which then levels it all out because it's not flat anyway, and it levels it all out. And they oversee top dress.
Takes out the hollows of the lumps.
Yeah.
The question that comes to mind for me is £11,000 is a huge amount of money. How long would that last? Is it a
You don't have to, yeah. I think it's.
So when you boil it down, it's £1,000 a year.
And what was I going to say? Oh, we do have money in the budget for grounds maintenance because I know this has been brought up before. So it's something that we want to at least ask if we can eventually. I mean, it's fine if we do it, but the others.
Asking for it, wasn't it, on certain areas?
Yeah.
So if we have sorry. So if we have another wet spring, if it turns up again and the same situation arises, another 11.5 grand.
Well, no, because it won't allow them to come.
No, okay.
This is the problem though with this village, is we don't have all our grounds to play sports. We don't have a community, a village green that we can have fun there.
The
So they're all going on sports, but it's
the
not.
only place we've got is Hucklechulla. No one's that.
Well, you could have there, you'd have to have a road operation
Yeah.
for a week.
why so?
No? You could have it at Hucklechulla because you'd have all kids and that walking up there.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not so sure you'd want a fun fair and stuff like that. What about everyone drive, people that drive there? Where they can park, you have all the kids walking up the blind hill.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, well, that one, it's not my decision,
Right, Clark, you had
So, where are we going to reclaim this money from the people who use the facility?
What do you mean, sorry?
How are we going to charge this back to the people?
Well, like
who
football and that.
Yes.
Well, this is what we need to, this is
We'll
something
have
else we need to
So
do. We need to.
Your point is yes.
And
So
the point is yes.
we
need
haven't
to-
got overstretching budgets that will keep the sports people happy for the quality of the ground they play on, whether it's a cricket club or whether it's a football club. So I just want to know how we can recoup.
Well, we
these-
need to look at all the fees anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll do, I mean, we budget for grounds maintenance and stuff, so we have the money in the budget to do this, but yes, I get your point. We need to be
I
recouping
totally agree
money.
with your point.
Yeah.
I think we have to seriously look at the costings of all the sporting facilities that we offer.
It's a proportion of our budget that we are spending
Yeah.
on a small number of sport types. I mean, obviously I'm thinking about cricket and football, and it's disproportionate to the number of people that are playing the sports.
I'll agree with the bit, it's just disproportionate for the number of people playing sports, but the issue that you have is with the cricket club, they got, it's not just basically adults, it's children and it's also the other.
Yeah, but 150 children there are Friday. It's phenomenal.
So I think the bottom line of this is we need to seriously review the costings because they are,
Which we know.
which we've done, they are ridiculously low. And the second question is, do we go ahead with this and recoup some of the money through the issue would be if you did have the fair up there, the insurers would cover the cost of any damage if we can get it insured. So that would sort of like negate that. I have to say, £11,000.
I mean, they could probably do the top dress themselves, which would take off.
Can we go back to the girls one and ask if they could possibly do the top dressing?
They can do the top dressing, which would be take off 5.5.
Now that makes it a bit more.
palatable.
But it is time, but yeah, and then that's the other thing is time is that I can't keep deferring it because we need to do it before the next season. So
Big one to next.
You haven't got much time, have you?
so then that would be take it down to 6340.
The other way we could do this is if would we agree to delegate that if the ground staff can do that, that we go ahead with the rest of it at 6,500?
6340.
I think we have to, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So
They'll just have to make time for it, don't they?
because we're running out of time, sir, and time's going fast. So I'll propose that we delegate to Joe that to speak to the ground. If they can do the topsoiling, then we go ahead with the up to
Go ahead up to 6.5.
6,500. Do I have a second? Neil? All those in favour? Anyone against? Fine. Okay. That's fine. Right, with that. Right, to discuss quotes for tipper trailer. This has come about because the amount of time wasted, in simple terms, that the groundsmen have to literally put it onto the trailer that we got.
Well, they don't do that. So it's when they're cutting, the machine fills up, and ideally they need to go up Puckridge Hill to empty it and then come back. But obviously that's wasting a lot of time going up and down. So they have requested a tipper trailer because then when they're on site, they'll be able to cut the grass, stick it on the trailer, drive up to Puckridge Hill, tip it off. Whereas on the trailer at the moment, they'd have to handle it on and then do the same the other end. So it's really, obviously, going to eventually save time.
No down to the nitty-gritty. How much?
Yeah, so I've got 3 quotes. So all the same, it's a 2-ton hydraulic tipping trailer with mesh sides and road lighting kit, so it can obviously go on the road. We have 3, so all the same, 3,847, 5,500 and 5,500.
It's a bit of a no-brainer there.
Again, we have money in reserves because we've got allocated reserves for machinery.
I'm going to propose we go for the
Cheapest one, because they're all the same.
It seemed extremely discrepancy, wasn't it? It's the same thing.
I know, yeah.
do I have a seconder? All those in favour? Anyone against? Right.
I'm just calling it okay.
Why?
You won't have any complaints because there won't be piles of grass
They'll be
in
back.
the corner.
Well, there was never mind.
Well done.
You see, wildlife habitat provided by piles of grass.
We've currently got stinking piles of grass, haven't we?
Well, exactly, yeah.
To agree the article for dark charter for the Sawston scene, I'm assuming everyone has read through it. Has anyone got any comments apart from Mark? You might mention that. And there's only one thing that I did pick up on the thing, and that was where you say I present the dark sky charter for Sawston, which has been adopted in process or may be ignored by the Sawston Parish Council. I'm not too keen on the bit of may be ignored.
But haven't we decided when I wrote that? That's why it's got a slash between it.
Oh, he's going to amend it.
Yeah. I wrote this before.
I mean, it has been adopted, well, it hasn't been adopted yet, and so in process is what I would go with. But
Under consideration, perhaps you could say.
yeah.
However, Mayor.
Go on. Stop saying mayor.
Well,
You know.
I'm thinking you're a bit permission to speak. So, through you, Chair. I'm not sure that the request that's embodied in the Dark Charter is an item that's within Parish Council's remit. It's principally about lighting, and the lighting in the village, and the street lighting particularly, is either the district or the county councils, and they're in control of those schemes. So people in their own property are certainly able to make decisions on their own regard, and actually I'm quite supportive of you asking and making a plea to do that. But I think that's then individual choices rather than anything that we can legislate for or enforce.
Well, there is legislation in there because there's been a fairly recent amendment. There's building regulations relating to outside lighting, which limits the power of outside lighting to 150 watts. And until that occurs, 100 watt units are completely irrelevant.
We actually complained about the lights here on the outside of this building and at the fire station as well. So there's I have no particular issue in enforcing existing legislation.
And also, certainly from my memory of South Cambs, the planning department there was actually quite hot on sort of restricting light spread on new developments. So I mean, I assume there's still policy there.
And that's really what we're trying to refer to, the enforcement of this stuff. But I mean, my sense of that, excuse me if I haven't read it as diligently as I might have done, but my sense of that is you want to go further than the current regulations require.
Yes.
No, that's not the intent. Would I love it to turn the lights off all the time? Yes. That's just it. The intent of the charter is not, it's just to be supported. It's not meant to be anything that you're going to be sued over and like that. It's a community statement saying if we all agreed to this, whether you can or you can't, it's just it out there. If this was like a guideline and people read it and adhered to it, we'd have less light pollution, better wildlife, I can see more stars. So I'm not asking you to put this inside Parish Council articles or this is what you're being held to. It's just I would like the Parish Council to support it. And even have it, if such a, put it on your website, have it, we support the endeavours or the intent of this. That's the point of it. It's, I put some of the, I made an amendment for those regulations, thank you David, pass on, I have an amendment paragraph for that, but it's not meant to be, oh you're going to get sued or somebody's going to complain that you're not doing this. It's just to inform people and get awareness for people, and if people start listening to it and it's got a little bit of heft behind it because the Parish Council have agreed that this is a nice aim to have, then that puts a different spin on it.
But also maybe credit with us with more clout.
But you have to start somewhere, right?
Sure.
That's what it says.
So more applies to it, really, isn't it?
Personally, I'm actually for the Parish Council to support it within its capacity.
Indeed, yes.
As Mark has just rightly said, a simple thing is just put it on the website.
Yes.
And it gets the word out there. And every so often we can gently bring it into a meeting and just make an observational discussion sort of thing. And it's like a lot of these things that they're trying to do. It's not enforcing it or saying you've got to do this, but it is, you use the word aware, making people aware of this is what you could do. If you turned off if you turn your lights between a certain time, this is the benefit that you will have.
There's no reason why we couldn't add it to our comments on planning applications, for example.
Exactly.
Time limits and
So, I mean,
it's helped South Cambs, you know, parishes are pointing this out. Well, I think,
so I am going to propose that we actually go ahead. Great. For Mark to go ahead. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
And all those in favour? Anyone against? Abstentions? Paul?
Thank you for writing it as well, Mark.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you very much for doing that. Okay, discuss quotes for village Christmas lights on a 3-year contract.
Okay, as usual, it's hard to get quotes for lights who will come and install them, dismantle them and maintain them throughout. So we've managed to get 2 quotes. One is the current supply that we use, and it's £4,000 plus VAT a year if we make early payment, which we've done previously to save £1,000. And the other company is £6,995.95 plus VAT.
I think you know the answer to that one.
Yeah, and so, like I say, the other, this
Per
company.
annum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and on but I want to do it on a 3-year contract, so we can use the lights and then we don't have to do this every year. Like I say, these 2 companies, the other companies want us to sort of purchase the lights, and we just don't
No,
have
we don't do that.
the capacity
That's too
to,
much hassle.
store them. We can't store them, so yes, these other 2,
I mean, when we used to do that, it was absolutely full. With absolute pain. It was like Christmas tree night. Actually, they work perfectly. We put them away, and then you get them out.
but these, as soon as they put them up, they do come out quickly, that's the problem.
Right, so I'm going to propose that we go with the cheaper quote.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
So that's £4 grand a year for 3 years.
4 grand, yeah.
Neil, seconded. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, but bloody hell.
Point of order.
Right, now the big one. Shame we're not all here. To discuss councillors to attend the Sawston Fund Run annual presentation evening, which is July the 17th, I recall. Anyone would like to volunteer?
I think it's the chairman's
Well, yes, we're
Oh, where are
going.
you going?
Someone else can go as well.
You can have more than one.
Hold on.
Don't rush.
Hold on, I can't get my
Whatever you
names
do,
down.
don't rush.
Chair can put his municipal chains on and do the route.
Right, so no one else interested in going. That's the one you're busy. Don't worry, I'll put Kevin down.
So shall we say Kevin?
That's
Okay.
yeah, no problem.
Correspondence.
None.
Right, councillors issues and agenda items for the next meeting. David?
No.
Anne?
No. No.
No. If you decide... Point of order. I was actually going to... I'll try and help you then, but...
Go on, go on.
I'm now asking why I want to.
Go on.
If you decide to go down the route to bring in the subcontractor, whether it's RPO or not, for the data inputs, with due humility, I do have one of the largest LinkedIn networks in the country. I could put an advert on there for free to help you get somebody. But why I made the offer with the benefit of hindsight, I do not know. But now I'm finished.
I think that corralled you into doing that help anyway, because...
No, I appreciate that, but I mean, it's not like we're going to save 200 quid, I mean, we could save 3 grand at least.
Well, there we go. I think...
But I mean, I could put an advert on there for free if I was asked nicely.
You volunteered?
You did?
Yeah.
You volunteered?
It's like the sum, isn't it?
Right,
Go and walk to a machine.
moving on, it's-
So, right, so you volunteered for that, that's brilliant. Boy,
No?
I haven't got them.
Good.
Right,
Leave now.
I'm afraid this is where we have to ask the members of the public
To go and watch the football.
to go and watch the football.
We vote on it, the proposer.
Can I have a proposer? David? Thank you.